This is Verna from StampinNotes.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I love to share the joy of paper crafting and card making. And I have just a beautiful card to share with you today. And the credit goes to Linda Bettinger at Ink and Ingenuity. I saw this card on her YouTube video, and I decided I wanted to make it and share it with you. I just love it. It's so simple and yet so beautiful. So this is the card. Isn't that gorgeous? And it uses a Plush Poinsettia Special Designer Series paper. It has like a raised velvety touch to it right on the front of it. And then we've got the die cut words Merry Christmas with a red gemstone and our sheer real red ribbon, and inside it says may magic and wonder bloom this holiday season. Now I don't know what her inside was like, but I did this. So let's talk about what we need to make this card. First of all, you need the beautiful designer series paper, and it comes in, I think there's 3 different patterns here. But I've cut up all the ones with the poinsettia on it, and I will use this for something else. But isn't that gorgeous? And I will have a link down below in the video description to my store if you want to purchase any of these products, along with the product number, all the product numbers and the measurements to make this card. The next thing that I've used is these beautiful dies. And I love them. They're for different holidays: New Year's, Father's, Mother's, Thanksgiving, Valentine's, Halloween, Merry Christmas, and that's what I used. And there's a happy. And these dies are in the annual catalog. Well, the set that goes with them is on page 14, A Wish for Everything. And there's all these sentiments for different holiday seasons on them. And then the dies, these dies coordinate with them, and they're called the Word Wishes dies, and they're listed in the back of the catalog. The other thing that I've used from the Poinsettia Suite, and I'm changing up catalogs. This is the Holiday Mini Catalog, and I've used this real red ribbon, the Specialty Designer Series paper, and then I'm using the poinsettia stamp from this stamp set, the Poinsettia Petals. Isn't that gorgeous? And if you just wanted to buy the bundle, you would save 10%, and that would be the stamp set and the coordinating dies, and it makes a gorgeous poinsettia. So let's get started with the card. So we need a piece of real red cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to bring in my bone folder and just give that a good crease, like so. I also need a piece of the Specialty Designer Series paper, and this is 5 1/4 by 4. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love it. Now, I am backing this with a piece of real red that's the same size, 5 1/4 by 4. Oops, I got a glue dot there. It's the same size, 5 1/4 by 4, because I want to wrap a piece of the ribbon around. And if I wrap it around just the front of this to the back, it's going to show underneath because things show through vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this on this piece of real red. I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm just going to put dabs of the glue where the white is so it won't show. And you can see I'm just making it very small, just a little dab of it. And that's one thing I like about this glue is you just need a tiny bit of it. All right, and I'm going to go ahead, I think I want it this way. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my my cardstock. The other thing is it will make the front a little heavier and thicker, which I always like. Okay, So that is on there. I'm going to show you how to do a quick ribbon with just getting tails like this. I'm going to wrap my ribbon. You can wrap it around anything round. And since I want my bow to be on this side of the card, I'm going to go to this side of the ribbon to make a knot. I'm going to wrap it around. In this case, I'm using my take your pick tool. Okay, so I want it about there. And this is about 11 or 12 inches. It's extra long. I just like working with it a little extra long. I would rather have it long than too short and trying to get it to fit. So I've tied a knot, and now I'm going to slide this off here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this loop that I've made, and I'm going to snip that to make the tails. So here we're going to make our tails like this. And I tried to do it at a slant, but I may want to come in and adjust that. After I get the tails cut, I'm going to pull that tight so there's a nice tight knot there. So I'm going to go this way. And what I'm going to do is bring in some good old-fashioned Scotch tape. And I am going to tape the ends down on the back. I'm going to do this one first. Oop, I think I want it this way. I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And then I am going to pull this around like this. And again, I'm going to bring my tape in. I'm going to tape this down. And I'm just going to cut this big tail off here. We'll get rid of that bulk. All right, so we have our beautiful, easy ribbon with the tails there. I'm just going to take and cut that like that. All right, so that is done. And I am going to just take my multi-purpose liquid glue and just go around the edges, put a little bit on the ribbon there. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe to it and then hit the little bell there and you'll receive notifications when I upload my next video tutorial. I would love to have you subscribe. Okay, so that looks about right. This needs to go up a little bit. And this is one thing I love about the liquid glue is that you have a little bit of time to reposition whatever you put down. All right, I'm going to bring in a glue dot and I'm just going to put it under this knot here and anchor that. I'm going to use my take a pick tool and grab that off this tape and lay that down there. That's done. Now I have already pre-cut my words to save time. Merry Christmas, and I want them like this. There is this wonderful product now. It's called our adhesive sheets, and this is what it is. And what you do is, I don't know if you can see this line, but this peels, there's 3 sections that peel back. So you would cut it however large you want it for your die cutting. Peel it off, and then you would take your piece of paper that you're going to be die cutting and you would put it on the back. Then you would lay your dies on the front and cut them out, and guess what? Your glue is already on there. Your adhesive is already on there. It's awesome. See, it's on the back here, and all you have to do is peel that backing off. It's just, I love it. It's one of my very favorite products. So we will get this peeled off here, hopefully. There we go. And lots of times, if there's little like spaces that still have the paper in them, like the E, it'll come out when it peels off. So I'm going to lay the M down there like that. Okay, so Mary. Okay, now Christmas, you can see I've got a few little holes that still have the paper in them, and this, I think it's going to come off with the backing when I take the backing off. So let's start this one. Okay, so here's our Christmas, and let's see, that looks about right. I'm going to go ahead and tap that down, and as you can see, the little pieces came out when I pulled the backing off. And I'm going to take a red rhinestone. I'm just going to put it here for the dot on the eye. I'm going to take my take a pick tool to pick that up and lay it right there. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just love it. Okay, so let's do the inside. So I have a 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece of Whisper White. I'm going to bring my sentiment in, and the sentiment is from the Poinsettia Petals stamp set, and that is here, and I'm using May Magic and Wonder Bloom this holiday. And I'm also using this large poinsettia here. I'm using Memento Black ink, and since this is a photopolymer stamp set, I'm going to bring in my little mat to stamp on because it raises the surface up and gives it a little bit of a cushion, and your stamping will come out better. This is an old piercing mat. If you don't have this, you could use a magazine or just something to give it a little bit of hold it up underneath. Boy, this block is really dirty. Ignore the dirty block. And I'm going to stamp that on there at the top. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper because I'm going to stamp off to the side with a poinsettia. And here's my poinsettia. This whole set is gorgeous. I just absolutely love it. And the flowers, when you do the flower, if you get the dies, it's 3 layers of petals. Okay, I think I will put it like this. Okay, and that looks good. Now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Blends, and I'm using Cherry Cobbler. I am going to take the light Cherry Cobbler first and color in. If you do one section at a time, then when you come in with your dark, it won't be totally dry and you can blend it in better. So I'm just gonna go, this is gonna be my section I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna wait and do the center in yellow. I'm going to bring in my dark blend, and I am just going to go over these the edges like that. Got a little bit outside there. And then I am going to color like one side darker than the other for like lighting and shadow. Now I'll do the next section. I tend to use the brush tip more. There's a brush tip and a bullet tip on these. And these are an alcohol marker, so they will bleed through to the other side, so you want to have something down underneath them. Shade. So let's bring the bullet tip in for our outline here. And I'm not going to outline all of them, just a few of them. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my brush tip. And I'm going to do, again, the center and one side a little darker than the other. I've just grabbed my dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to come in and fill this in. And our poinsettia is done. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so our card is done. Thanks so much for stopping by, and if you need any of the supplies or you need to know the measurements, look in the description below. Take care, and I'll see you next week.